The Mesoamerican reef system stretches for more than 600 miles along the coasts of Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras. More than 2 million people depend on this interconnected ecosystem of coral reefs, mangroves, seagrasses, and coastal lagoons. So the Mesoamerican reef contributes directly to the livelihood and the national economies of these countries. But for a long time, this fragile reef system is being degraded. Climate change, unsustainable fishing, inland agriculture runoff, coastal development, pollution, invasive species, and other factors are threatening the integrity and health of this system. So back in 2012, the 4 MAR countries started the groundwork to establish a network that would look out for the best interests of the Mesoamerican reef. In 2017, with support from the MAR Fund and Mexico's Oceanos, they organized themselves and renewed their commitments to get together to find common ways to restore the reef. This week, the Reef Restoration Network is hosting its second biennial meeting in Belize.
The Mesoamerican reef is a source of economy for many people. Most coastal people rely on either for protein, from fishing, for food, or for selling the fish, or for taking tourists to see the beautiful reefs. And the problem we're facing is that every day the reefs seem to be confronting a new challenge, and there are many challenges that are causing the reefs to degrade. And so basically what we need to do is to reverse that trend, to try to have healthy reefs again. And because they are so important for the economy. But they're also important for many other reasons. They protect the coast from erosion, and they provide pharmaceuticals and lots of other services that the reef provides. So we need to reestablish that. And we used to talk a lot about conserving coral reefs, but now we have to talk about restoring coral reefs, because conserving them the way they are is not enough anymore. So I think that's the real importance of this network, is that we work in coordination and learn from each other's experiences and collaborate and try to make that happen.
The goal of this network is to see that the MAR thrives as a healthy, productive ecosystem. But for this to happen, the countries that share this resource must work together to restore the reef. Ian Drysdale of Honduras' Healthy Reefs Initiative shares how this kind of collaboration can help managers of this resource to plan, manage, and restore the MAR.
We have restoration projects in the different countries, but they're not comparable right now, and not everybody's working at the same level, at the same speed. So the point of creating this network that brings the 4 countries together and over 75 partner organizations is to have everybody working along the same lines and to be able to compare how successful we're being with restoration projects. For example, we need to have fishing regulations that are the same across the 4 countries. Another difficulty we have is oil exploration. I know that Belize has done a great job in banning offshore oil exploration, but not Honduras, for example. So whatever happens in one country can greatly and negatively affect the neighboring country. But also let's look at it the positive side. Coral restoration projects, when they start spawning and putting out their gametes into the water, coral reefs don't know borders. These are just our lines drawn on maps. So whatever one country is doing positively with coral restoration will also positively affect the neighboring country.
Belize is home to 80% of the Mesoamerican reef. Every year, the reef provides about $500 million in services to Belizeans. But the reality is that with increased use and development, coupled with changes in our climate, our coral reefs are at risk. And so to help the coral reefs continue to support the economy and to safeguard its biodiversity, Fragments of Hope has planted over 65,000 coral fragments in the last 10 years in Belize. Their restoration project is recognized as one of the most successful coral restoration projects in the region. At this network meeting, the organization is sharing some of their best practices with their partners.
Sediment and pollution is affecting them, especially with development on the islands now. We have a lot more runoff of pollutions from the sewage system. And in turn, that can create more algae on the dead substrates. And if we have algae, there won't be corals natural recruiting to that area. So it would be wise to go and scrub off some of the algae, and with the restoration efforts we can put corals back in those areas. We have most of the corals very alive, 95% most of the time.
While more countries come together to plan, they also look to each other to learn from their experiences and best practices. According to David Golko, who works with coral restoration in Hawaii, this level of network collaboration is exemplary. Golko also lauds the efforts of Belize's coral restoration project, which differs from their work in the Pacific.
This Mesoamerican Reef Consortium, Restoration Consortium, is rather unique worldwide in terms of these 4 countries coming together, working together, developing coordinated actions relative to reef restoration. That's pretty far advanced compared to most other countries that are dealing with this, and so there's a lot to learn by being here. Your primary corals that are being restored here are extremely fast-growing corals, growing on a range of 20 to 25 centimeters a year. In Hawaii, our average growth rate is 1 to 2 centimeters a year, so we have extremely slow-growing corals, and we have relatively rare corals because they're unique to Hawaii, which gives us different challenges in terms of how we conduct restoration. Therefore, we've developed different techniques. And once again, coming to a unique meeting like this gives us an opportunity to evaluate those techniques relative to what others are doing.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.